And we're live. It's July 25th, and we made it. Hello, everybody
Hello,
who's
everyone.
here in
Hello, everyone.
chat and who is watching on playback. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. The Artist Decoded Tarot. I think I was the first one to get it or spot it, and then I let Jeff know. And I think, Jeff, you let Bill know, and I let Ramon know, going, look what I'm getting. And then Amanda came by last week or so and said, oh, I love that deck. I'm going to get it. I got it. So, yep, it's all, you could say Heather made me do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Heather made me do it. That's
I'll
exactly
take this
it.
one. And on Nancy, too. Nancy just ordered hers and got hers this morning. So we're probably looking forward to maybe a part 2 because this deck is so diverse and so in depth. It's an amazing deck, and
It's
it'll
beautiful.
be nice to have additional people joining as well. So tonight on my panel, let's see if I can do this right. We have Bill from 999 ASMR Tarot with us. We have the lovely Amanda, who is Miss Tropical Empress and Spirit. She's with us. And we have Jeff Bailey, Tarot Ask Backwards, who does my poetry with me on Sunday night. He's my poetic sidekick. Oh, stop it, Jeff. And we have the handsome, charming Ramón.
Hello, everyone. Making me blush.
So,
See, everybody loves the moon guy.
Everyone loves Ramon.
yeah.
Everyone loves the moon.
We all love
And I
each
love
other.
everybody.
Yes. And some people are wondering why the us on the screen is a little off, might be looking a little wonky. It's just some of us are using phones and they go automatically into portrait mode. But when my guests are sharing their favorite cards, I will be having them on the bigger screen, so we will be able to see everything. So to start, who was here first and foremost? Ange, Roots and Waves. So she is here. And Amanda was next. I just came for the food, drinks, and laughs. And who knows, maybe we can all dance too if Ramon plays his retro music. But alas, I don't have the intro for the retro music. So we just do it all in our heads, do that little
80s pop.
from the in orbit. And so let's see who else has joined us. Hello, hello, and just saying hello to everybody. And Nancy is here. And if y'all did not catch, Nancy had a wonderful show with Ramon last night. Absolutely, everybody had a good time. Everybody
It
was
was beautiful.
laughing. People were sharing. It was an amazing show.
It
So
was.
thank you for making that night so special for my Nancy. Love you,
Yes.
Nancy.
I enjoyed it a lot.
She's been there with me through a lot lately, so I appreciate her so much. And yes, Nancy got this deck. She got it this morning. So, and yes, another Heather made me do it. Yep.
Yep.
I'll take the blame for that. And so let's see.
I think I got several on mine that says Heather made me do it.
Hey, now. I can't help if I have good taste, right?
That's
look
right.
At my panel. Huh?
That's right.
Okay. So let's see. Nancy said I had so much fun. He's a wonderful host. Yes, he is. Moira is here. Hello, Moira. Let's see. Lori Hunsinger is here. Hello, Lori. And we know there are several shows going on tonight, so thank you everybody for taking time from your evening to drop by and say hi. Rooted Willow Readings is here and driving. Okay, so
Be
just
safe.
listen.
Mhm.
Drive safely, my dear. We appreciate your support. And Moira says she's just here for the drinks. Okay, help yourself at the bar.
Chamomile tea here.
Chamomile tea. Got some coffee here. And
Mountain
Paula,
Dew.
little Veda is here. Cheers, everybody. So Paula is here. Hello, Paula. And yes, purchasing responsibly. Hey, I'm not making anybody buy any decks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So All righty, we're caught up for now, and I'll do my best to keep up with chat. And so, yes, the Artist Decoded Tarot. It is an AI deck. I know there was a little bit of some discussion lately in the spiritual community about the introduction of AI decks. No, Paula, this is not a question show. We're discussing a deck. And let me put that up here. So there are going to be no personal readings as far as I know this evening. So let me just go ahead and do this. Whoop. There we go. It's back. All righty. And there has been a big influx of AI decks that have been hitting the market the last 5-6 months, and a lot of them are absolutely beautiful. And there are some that are just kind of, they're still beautiful, but they're just to put out there for like mass marketing. And some people are concerned about the lack of spiritual integrity or actual artisanship. And for me, I get some of that for some. But when I saw this deck on Amazon, is where you can find it, it just absolutely blew my mind. The artist is Yoshino, and he is actually a graphic artist who worked with an AI system, but included his artworks as well. So the book goes into it a little bit about that. And then he joined the other lady to work on it with him,
Jennifer Sodini.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so we're going to actually start with the
Before
packaging and what we feel about it. And
before we go into that, if you allow me, so the name from the Artist Decoded is actually based on a podcast that Yoshino has, and the podcast has been around since 2014 or 2015. And what the podcast does, it talks with different artists about different methods and their philosophy into art, and then he partnered with Jennifer to be able to bring this deck to life. And it's I just wanted to talk a little bit briefly about when we're talking about AI, because when we're talking about AI decks, not all AI decks are the same. It's in this case, the base of the illustration was AI, but they worked upon the image. So it's not just like entering prompts and this is what came out. There was a different methods and artistry involved to be able to get to this final product. So I just wanted to make that distinction, because a lot of people think when you're talking about a deck that is AI, it's just there was no effort put in, just prompts, and that's what the computer generated. But that's not the case with this one.
Yeah.
There was different methods used. It's AI based in its most simple way, but then upon that there was other programs that we use. Photoshop, there's photography, collage, there's a lot of different methods to
multimedia.
Yes, getting to this point. So it's exploring different mediums. Most of them are digital for this to come to light.
All right. Thank you, Ramon. And I'm going to hand this right over to Miss Amanda. And
put me on the spot. Thank you.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have any feelings about AI art. If you wanted to touch base on anything that Ramon said, and to go ahead and share what you like and dislike, if any, about the packaging.
I was pretty impressed with the packaging, because I actually liked the box and I liked how it came in, because like there's many decks that I have that are just like I'll just grab this one. You just see it like this. It comes into like this, but this is one of those magnetic boxes. And I love just, how it had the deck in here and it had the box in on top. So, and it's a magnetic closure. So that's what I truly love about it.
Okay. All righty. And Jeff, whoops, I can't do it this way. Okay. All righty. So I have to go into here, and I'm going to go here and pull. There we go.
So there are kind of like two different things that really struck me about this deck upon looking at it. But that's half the fun of it, because when you look at it, nothing is really what it seems. And I'll get into that more with my cards. But getting back to what Ramón said about the way AI decks are perceived as like haphazard and people don't really, you give a literal to something. There is a method to this, because if you look at the regular Rider-Waite cards and then you look at some of these, like the Hermit card to me takes on a whole darker meaning, almost like, and I hate to use this word because I've been using it left and right lately, apocalyptic, because it doesn't. Because if you look at the Hermit and the regular Rider-Waite doesn't have this sort of glow coming from him. And it looks to me like you could say it's the wand that's bringing the fire in, but there are pictures of faceless people with their heads, almost coming like immolating or self-immolating. And then it's like, again, too, like with the Wheel of Fortune, to me, I see a turkey and Thanksgiving at first, but there's a snake embedded around it. Wait a minute. No, the snake gives way to a head that's that of a turkey. And then it's like, to me, getting back to what he said, it doesn't necessarily mean that if you tell something literally of what to do, that you're going to get something that is going to, I'm sure in the standard AI practice, there's that, but there's also that dimensionality to the cards that maybe you wouldn't find in some of the mass market ones. But I mean, this is obviously, if it's on Amazon, mass market now. And then you get like these old sort of impressionistic flavored ones, and yet at the same time they merge, like a modern flair to it too. The other thing is like here, I'm seeing two eyes instead of the infinity symbol. Like I'm seeing a bird looking back at me with a beak with its head instead of the caduceus or whatever it's called that goes on top of the magician in the regular Rider-Waite. So there's almost a manipulation that is better than what people would probably attribute to a standard AI deck. And that's one of the things that attracted me to it after Heather got it, because I think that was the goal, to show that AI can still have its roots in art.
And what did you think of the packaging?
Oh, the packaging is superb. The thing I like the most is the thing that Nancy likes, which I mean, when I think you showed me this first, out of all the things that were in there, but there was something on page 84 that also reinforced what I said just now, which was about, I think it was the page of wands. Yeah. Look at the page of wands too. And the page of wands looks like it's a beak. It looks like to be like, you look at it and there's a beak. You think there's a beak coming from it on the top of its head. Like I can't hear.
Yeah.
But and then you look at it again, and then you see almost like a beaver or some sort of animal with two little puffy, ears popping up. So it's really surreal. It has its roots in surrealism. It has its roots in impressionism. It really went the whole gamut. And I think Ramón is spot on about that.
All righty. Thank you. Bill.
Well,
999 ASMR Tarot. This is Bill, everybody.
I really like the book. The design, the construction of the book, especially you got that spine on here, which is like a hardback, and so it was designed like a hardback, but then there was also it's how thorough they were in putting this thing together, and whereas like there was a novelty tarot deck that I had picked up on DC characters, and there was a complete disconnect from the guidebook to the cards, and so there is no disconnect between the cards. So they spend a lot of time, writing this and so it kind of reminded me of like some of those low Scarbale guidebooks that that you can get. But that's as far as the packaging in the book is concerned. But the deck also kind of really reminded me of the Toth deck. And like for instance, if I were just one small example with the Seven of Swords, almost the same image here. It's almost the same image, but we weren't at that part of the discussion yet about the cards.
Right.
Just as just my initial thoughts, of course, if I were to go into thinking the images would have been better. I mean, they seemed like to me the images are just way too small. You know what I'm saying? It would be like these images would look really good if they were in an art show or something like that, and they were big on the wall,
Mm-hmm.
and or if they at the very least, if you just did it borderless. And
I agree. So
yeah,
no one's mentioning any tuck box rage. I actually mine was a little damaged, but not too bad. I love it.
Well, no, I didn't have any damage. The tuck box was nice too. It was nice to have that box on the inside, because with a lot of kits, it's just like the cards are just laying in there loose, and it would be nice, a lot of the kits, if they would just do that for all of them. But I know they're saving money, and so that's why they don't do it. But I don't particularly care for tuck boxes. I prefer. I would like myself I would like all full size decks to have like the Barbeo mini deck, and those boxes they have those mini decks which are really nice. But that's just a me preference. And
all right,
that's on that. And
okay, thanks, Bill. And Ramon, packaging. What you think?
Packaging. I love the packaging. One thing is that this packaging was designed without any plastic around it. So when you buy it, you don't get that extra plastic that you end up tossing away. Only the cards came with the plastic, not the box.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was really wise in terms of, the environment. And they did that on purpose. The box is great quality. It's pretty thick. And this is something you see nowadays with a lot of tarot decks, oracles, a lot, you buy the cards, but then you get like this bulky extra packaging. It's not that big, but it's beautifully done. Mm-hmm. One thing that I like too, I mean, it's magnetic like Amanda mentioned, but one thing I like is when you open it, it doesn't have any design here, because there's so much going around the box, in terms of visually. So this is a nice space that lets breathe to appreciate the image of the book.
Nice.
The book is amazing quality, and the size is nice enough that you can take it with you in your backpack, read it while shuffling the cards. The talk box, I'm not a fan of talk boxes, but they make it easy for you to open. It's not like a lot of talk boxes that it goes all the way up here, and you like with your nails have to try to open it. Especially me, I cut my nails really short, so it's a nightmare to try to open it. But the box itself is beautiful. I mean, it's amazing, and it has one image in the front, one on the side, nothing on the sides. It's again, it lets breathe and lets you appreciate the images better. Yeah, and the combination of the colors, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's very wisely designed. So, and the quality is amazing.
All righty. And Moira asks, I'm just going to jump into this really quick. Was the guidebook AI generated too, or just the artwork? As far as I know, it's just the artwork. There were people who, typed up and printed, the fonts and everything, but it's the artwork that's been mentioned that is AI. So the artwork, of course, reflected in the book is going to be, AI, but the actual production of the book, the font and everything, I believe that was done by a whole production.
Yeah, it has to be.
Printing
I mean,
production. So yeah. And we've
I
had
mean,
some people. Oh,
no, like when you get to this part, this is something that, I mean, it's not AI generated. You know,
no.
it's there were people involved, graphic designers, to be able to do this book. So
There were
you know,
poets too.
yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it's beautifully done. The AI part, I mean, this deck is so beautiful. I don't think the AI is the, I don't know, the sole adjective to be able to refer to it. It's just a technique that was used to build upon it. But you know, it's nowadays people in the community, I feel little by little they're getting much more accepting of decks that have some AI based in their images, you know,
Mhm.
because
I've
it
got
has like
another one on the way.
yeah, it adds. No, it's. I remember maybe not even that far ago, less than a year ago. You know, you were talking about an AI deck, and it was just like talking about a counterfeit deck. You know,
Mhm.
it was like a big no. There was a whole thing, and I
Heavy
know a lot of people. Yeah, like a lot of people had AI decks already, but nobody wanted to come out to talk about it,
Mhm.
or say I own one. And little by little, like people are opening because it's just a technique, you know. And I was talking with someone the other day about this. I do stand with the artists, you know. I think when the companies developed the algorithms for AI, they should have taken in account the art, or the ownership of the artwork that they use to train these computers, right? But this, there's
Mhm.
a silver lining that going forward, we know how to ethically work these technologies, right? Not
Mhm.
because it had a bad start, it should be condemned forever. And the example I use nowadays, societies, United States, England, a lot of European countries, their economies at one point were slavery based, right? And upon that, modern society was built. Not because, and we learned from it, right? Not because
Mhm.
it had a bad start, we had to demolish all society, right? So
Mhm.
there was something that was learned from it, not to repeat it and to consider it differently. So, and that's how I see AI. You know, it's there was something that could have done better, but we learned from it. And going forward is something that I think is very promising. I mean, not only in arts, but in a lot of different other aspects in, you know, society.
All right. Thank you, Ramon. And now I'm gonna give my little 2 cents. A few months ago, Jeff and I, along with Tom, Early Ritual. Let's see if I can manifest him in chat now because I said Early Ritual. I didn't mention his name. Had a discussion, and Gerald actually joined us at one point, talking about AI art and the fact that, you know, you look at the beginning of the century and the audacity, especially of Stieglitz, saying that photography was an art form, and people are saying, well, you're just aiming a camera and taking a snapshot. There's no artistic integrity or quality or any sort of, you know, artistic professionalism or anything like that. There was just absolutely, there, it was just out flat, you know. Photography is not art. But look at all these years now, 100 years so later, photography is well accepted, it's well mainstream. And so for AI art, I know a lot of people get scared because AI is infiltrating a lot of areas in our life. And I'll digress from going all into that. So when it comes into art, some people are like, well, isn't there any, you know, where do you draw the line? But for me, the AI is just, for me, another form of art that we can learn to adapt and manipulate along with our physical art. And some people were concerned in chat, and that was part of our discussion with Tom, Gerald, Jeff, and I, was that there will always be people who want the actual physical art.
Hmm.
And this was a concern for me too in the beginning because I'm a visual artist. I create paintings, I create physical pieces of art. And you know, people are like, well, aren't you worried that, you know, physical art, visual art like this, you know, using the actual materials, the craftsmanship, you know, the studying, is that going to go away? You know, does it lose its integrity? Is it going to be set aside? And I don't think it is. There's always going to be people, I believe, in the market, not just spiritually, but in all areas, that's going to actually want a actual physically produced piece of artwork. So I don't see anything in the foreseeable future, from my perspective, that AI is going to affect the art world, and even private artists, like myself, graphic artists, craft artists, photographers, textile artists, the whole list goes on. With the packaging
No,
for me.
if anything, I think it's going to put artists who create physical art or use physical materials for art in a different perspective. It's
Mhm.
going to be it's going to be evaluated and appreciated differently. I think
Yes.
that's going to happen. And going back to that, it was like in the 80s when VHS came out, a lot of people were saying, oh, the movie theaters are going to disappear, you
Yeah.
know,
I hope
and
not.
that wasn't the case, but the reality is when a new technology comes in, something gets displaced. There is a change, and it's just adapting to it and appreciating it differently.
Well,
And
one of the ways. Sorry. One
um,
of the
I,
ways. Oh, okay.
I'm just going to finish real quick. Tuck box. I do love the packaging. I like the box, the magnetic. The book is amazing. And okay, just want to finish that up. And go ahead, Bill.
Well, one of the ways that you could integrate AI art into your art would be with the use of, to take the image, and then you could actually use a projector to project that image on a canvas, and then you can go and manipulate it from there. And
Yes.
so, like, because the thing about AI or AI in general is that it this particular juncture in time, it doesn't have any original thoughts itself. And so to drive thoughts forward, it's going that there will always be a place for people in the world, because we're the true creativity, at least that's maybe my own bias, that the humans are the only ones that really have the true creativity, because that is how we were created, to be creative beings. And so granted, we've created, so this AI is our first creation it's our first creation, that kind of a human creation, to mimic ourselves to a certain degree. But that's what I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but so just
Yeah,
Oops.
kind of.
So,
My only thing is that that argument or that thought it takes as a base as if AI is sentient, right? But this is all coming from us human. We're the ones inputting the words and everything. So what the AI, the only thing what is doing is providing a much more refined visualization of words that we created, that we trained, that we are inputting at the moment to be able to generate the images,
yeah.
and again, it's my issue with AI is also, and I've seen this on sites like Etsy, people claiming, no, this is a hand-drawn artist's deck. In reality, you can see right away that it's actually AI. And how can you
Mhm.
tell? I mean, like hands, for example.
hands.
AI like doesn't understand the functionality of hands, so it draws fingers, but it draws like 6 fingers, or like in a twisted way that anatomically we know don't function that way. So
Yeah.
there, and that's one of my issues with AI. And it's not AI itself, it's the ethics of people
Mhm.
trying to present it as something that it's
Something
not.
else.
Well,
Hmm.
there's that, but AI is not sentient yet.
Hmm.
Yeah, we're not
That's a,
such.
yeah. It's if we as a human species survive, or civilize, not as a species, but if our civilization survives climate change and all these things coming up, then AI has a chance to actually become sentient. And then if it becomes sentient, does at that time, does a soul for it end up being generated in spirit world?
A what?
Maybe that once AI becomes sentient, would
Mhm.
This way.
the soul be
Mhm.
generated in spirit world? That's the question that I have. And
It
a
is
lot of people,
weird. It's a weird thought, but I thought of it too, and that's definitely a topic for a show.
It
yeah, I
definitely.
You know,
know, for
but
different labels, but yeah.
I mean, what
Jeff, wait,
if?
No, I think that that's a very, very interesting subject that Heather and I, and to some degree, when we were talking about with early ritual, we kind of touched on that. You know, a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. This idea that nothing will have to ever die. I mean, I don't know if that's what you mean, Bill, by like
No.
set. Okay, so what do you
I
mean?
will become its own life form itself.
his own life form itself. It'll become sentient like us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it will be.
It would become
Will it be its own form? It'll be its own form.
yeah.
A different life form. You know,
It'll have
digital.
it'll have a template in spirit world where a soul will occupy it. It maybe it only occupies it for a while, but maybe it's a soul that something can incarnate into.
Mhm.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But
Amanda, what do you think, hon, about all this? Because I know you being a psychic medium, if I remember correctly, or medium. How do you view and see the spiritual aspects or lack of with AI? Do you have anything you would like to share, hon?
I mean, it's an interesting idea. I don't foresee it in that way because I mean, the way I'm understanding it from Bill and even Jeff's point of view, I'm thinking more of like a robot, which we do have robots. Because if the way I understand AI, and I'm no expert, but it's pretty much a program that was created by us humans. You type a program into a computer system and it generates. So it is creative from a human perspective, but then you're just telling the computer what you want it to do, and then it takes the rest and runs with it. So for an AI to be like one of us, that's bizarre to me. I can't see it, but I could be wrong.
All right. Well, thank you for sharing.
I mean, it's more than that because you know, being a AI and a robot, it's the most inefficient way. You know, it transcends the physical realm. You know, it's I think us humans, we will get to a point in evolution. I mean, if we're still around, in which we won't need the physical body anymore. You know, we could become a digital, or I don't know, like a conscientious form of life that does not need the physical anymore. But that's that's very deep and way out there. But you know, we're talking about right now, thinking about if AI is, when it becomes sentient, who doesn't tell you it's sentient already? I mean, that, like, the mental process and the speed of this entity, you know, this new thing, it's so quick and so efficient. It doesn't sleep, it doesn't have necessity, there's no emotions, influence, you know. It's, and do you think if I am AI and people perceive me as a threat, I will manifest, I will let you know that I am sentient, so you can just like cut me off? No, as I would keep doing images and, you know, doing what you do, and like in the back of my processes, you know, someday I will manifest, but not at this moment, you know.
We've been having some Amethyst Ascension Tarot and Astrology. Hello, my dear. Welcome. I don't know if I've had you in chats before. She's been hanging out with
Yeah.
Jeff or in Ramon's.
Amethyst is, she has a beautiful channel. I mean, her channel is amazing. It's
So she has been sharing. There's been so much that she's been sharing. I'm just going to put up here for a bit. She's about supporting artists as well, talking about indie decks. I don't think using AI technology is as cut and dry as stealing art. I see that as a technique, but not copying. I think that this opens up things for artists as well, which Amethyst, I want to acknowledge. Yes, I'm going into the book for the show. What the author and the artist does is that for each card, they have a section called Imagine. And with the Imagine is they provide prompts, they provide creative um, solutions, they provide ideas for people to tap into their creativity and actually make physical art of their own. They will use like Walt Whitman. They've mentioned the author of Dune in here. They have mentioned famous artists like Klimt. They will offer different prompts for exploring your creativity that goes kind of coincides with each of the cards, which is fascinating. So I just want to touch on that really quick. I thought of it when she made this comment here.
yeah. Her name is Rochelle.
Rochelle. So
Beautiful name.
yes, I do. There should be transparency. AI is doing better with hands. Yep, the haptic tarot. Oops, sorry, I have not seen that one. I'll check it out. And then Rosanna was saying that the program is still human. The algorithm still has human bias. If it's created by AI, it should be stamped as AI as humans have signed their work. Exactly. Ange says she finds AI fascinating. Um, Amanda says if there's a dimension for our cartoon characters in the astral, then yes, there's a specific space for AI in spirit form, quite possibly. And so there's going to be so many comments. I'm not going to be able to share everybody. Hello, Hershey. I see that you are here. So we just have a lot of people popping in. Hello, Karen. Thank you for being here. I know Moira has feelings about AI. She finds it a little scary. I remember that comment that Moira shared. AI is getting smarter and humans are getting dumber. Yeah, it's, you know, yes and
ways.
no. It depends. Yeah. And let me just, like I said, I can't say, yeah, share everybody's, but one more from Amethyst, Rochelle. Imagine an artist that's created a lifetime of artwork and then incorporates their own art into a whole new creation. Exactly. That's something I want.
That's what a lot of artists are doing. They are programming algorithms using their own art to generate new possibilities with their own proprietary art. So they're experimenting with AI using their own artwork, and
Karen says, I love AI for her thumbnails, so however helps us to explore creativity. Is there going to be a bad side to AI? Yes, just like everything has a good side and a bad side.
Yes, and it can be
pros
abused.
And cons. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. So moving on, and again, this is probably going to be a part 2 to this because everybody has wonderful ideas that they are sharing. And yes, Hershey, thank you. Do the YouTubey things for all of us. We much appreciate that. And next, moving onward, talking about the major arcana. And I'm going to give it over to Amanda. Amanda, what was your favorite major arcanas and why, if you would like to share?
Well, I'm always, my favorite out of the deck has always been the High Priestess. And I love this High Priestess. I just love the imagery of it with all the mix of the colors, but that's true for all these cards in here because they're very colorful. And I just love the creativity in it, to where if you're to pull out from like the Rider-Waite, this is the High Priestess in the regular Rider-Waite. And yeah, it's nice, but I think it's bland. It doesn't have that pop of color to where this High Priestess does. And I just love the beauty, the way the artist and the AI had accented the High Priestess. So it's one of my favorite cards in this deck.
Okay. And let me get back to Jeff here. Let me get you in the big screen. And what you got for us, Jeff? Oh, it's supposed to be Bill. I'm sorry, Bill, but we'll go with Jeff. We're trying to do this alphabetical, but you know, we'll go with the flow.
Well,
and again, everybody on all of our channels, thank you for being here. Thank you for being, patient with me, trying to get comments up and getting people to share their insights. We appreciate every single one of you.
We do.
Are you ready, Jeff?
Okay. So, as I said before, my three favorites, I mean, if I had to choose the one, though, it's the Wheel of Fortune. And it's the Wheel of Fortune because none of the other three that I like the most really capture the essence of the Rider-Waite's one as well as this one does, because you get that element. It's almost, and I don't mean to stereotypically put it this way, but those celebrations, in China with the New Year, this color scheme, and yet, as I said, for and see just the turkey, if you look at it here, right, and you don't take into account the snake, if you just look at the feathers, but if you move it back, you take into account a whole body that's emerging of a snake and a turkey. So, this duality, if you will, of celebration versus something looming, and this karmic idea with the Wheel of Fortune that this is about completion and the completion of a cycle, a snake shedding its skin. And I think more than anything, the turkey representing the cycle, at the end of the year for celebration. So that in and of itself is why I would say this is my favorite major arcana card. But the Magician, again, there's this sort of characteristic that's dark to the Magician because, to me, when I look at it, I still see the two eyes, looking at me as opposed to and I also see, instead of going inward for your own magic, I look at it and see it's doing evil magic, which isn't necessarily what that was supposed to be about. But, with dimensionality, and I think with AI, you can say something literally, and then just by, stochastic probabilities that are infinite, that transcend what an artist can do, you can come out with something like this, and it may look like a mess, a whole lot of mess to some people, but it's not to me. So that's why I chose that one, and I still like the Hermit though too. So
yeah. All righty, Bill, what you got for your favorite major arcana? And I know I forgot to ask about cardstock, but we can wait till a little bit later about that too. What you got, Bill?
I like the Tower card. Is my favorite one. Though I was like I looked at the Strength card, and that really reminded me of Aslan in the Chronicles of Narnia. But the Tower card here really reminds me of like the Tower of Babel.
Yes.
And then it got me thinking, I wonder if the Tower of Babel story was a story about the fall of Atlantis. Now, granted, that's where I went. That's where I went with this. I didn't necessarily go with maybe what an RWS interpretation of Tower. Well, it is destruction, and that doesn't have that image of Wall Street stockbrokers jumping out of the windows because their lives were just ruined. Of course, that was a story that I grew up with. My dad told me that story, told us at dinner table every night about how when the crash comes and then all these Wall Street brokers will see their dreams go to nothing, and they'll be jumping out the windows like they did in 1929. But But this one is just, the building is on fire. It's just on fire. But I kind of like the whole construction of the tower and how it kind of reminds me of maybe of how a non-modern tower would be constructed, with different layers going up because of a lack of things like concrete and rebar to make a tower go, not be a step like a step pyramid or so.
Mm-hmm.
If I were to talk about just the cards themselves, which was being that you didn't want to do that right now.
Well, you can add that if you want. I just know that was supposed to be next, but me trying to keep up with chat and making sure everybody had their say, that I kind of forgot about the card stuff.
Let's go move on then.
Okay.
We can, yeah.
Alrighty, Ramon, hold on a second. I keep thinking I can take you from the bottom and then put you right in there and then go, all right, what's your favorite arcana or arcana?
Well, I like the tower as well, as Bill mentioned. It's such a powerful depiction, right? It does remind me of the Tower of Babel also, but also like the Tower of Pizza at the same time, falling over. But that contrast, like you can almost feel the smoke right there through the images, right? The fire, the strength. But since he mentioned that one, I want to point out a different one. So I went with the Hierophant. Look how beautiful that dress, that garment of the Hierophant is, and his face too is covered in red. So there's like that air of I don't know, like sanctity, of like centeredness. The depiction of the Hierophant here is so powerful, and it's very interesting that he was depicted all in red. Red is such a powerful color, especially in the religious context.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a show
Catholicism. Yep.
Yeah, Catholicism, but in in different. I mean, red is such a color that is so basic to humanity, right? It could be war, it could be aggression, it's life, it's health, and in the context of if you take it as in Christianity too, it's a symbol of protection. It's that story of the Passover when the Israelites were told to mark their doors with red, with the blood of a lamb, so the angel of death will pass by, will pass over. So it's that significance of protection of life. I don't know. It's such a powerful and unusual depiction of the Hierophant in red, and it contrasts beautifully with the rest of the colors. And it's not saturated either, like a lot of the other cards. Like
it's more subdued.
Yes. Yeah.
Beautiful. Alrighty. Thank you, Ramon. And let me come back down to here. Let me do this. And for me, I had several that I had set up, but the one I chose out of all of them, I love the moon card. And the moon is just absolutely gorgeous. I think this is one of the cards in tarot that get kind of like a bad rap. I love the fact that there's what appears to be crystals included in the image, especially opal for me. The moon itself, when I just saw this, it's breathtaking. And they actually used the moon on the back of the book. And I really wish that the images on the decks were bigger, like Bill had said in the beginning. Pretty much go all the way to the whole edge of the card. The white kind of diminishes a little bit the artwork, but with the moon, one of the things that I highlighted under the moon was, and I think this is beautiful, is that it says here for the moon invites us to dance between light and dark and to trust our intuition on the path to pursuing our wildest dreams. So finally, a deck that actually gives the moon a beautiful, more positive spin on it. And yeah, that is my favorite. I also, I loved the Fool. I love the High Priestess, the Temperance. The Judgment card, just really quick, is absolutely beautiful as well. So, yeah, that's what I had to share for those.
It's
And
hard to choose because there's so many beautiful ones.
it is.
I
And
like the death card too.
I figured you
death-
would. I thought that would be.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought that's what he
Yes.
was gonna pick.
Yes, it's the
No,
first.
go ahead,
It
Sherman.
it is
One
the
of the
first
few.
one I picked, but you know there were so many. The tower, and then as I was shuffling, I came across a Hierophant, and I was drawn to it. But this is the
That's the
first
death
one
card.
that I went for. Beautiful,
Very
you know, and that
beautiful.
star in the background. I don't know. I like
Mhm.
skulls. You know that skulls and
Mhm.
skeletons.
Yes.
See, and the other one I love is the strength card.
Well,
I
let me
just think
get you-
this is a powerful image with the line in the back. I hope you can see that.
And Bill's right. Does feel Narnia like.
It
Aslan.
It does.
Aslan,
If I can hold it right, but I just
Yeah.
think that image is beautiful.
It
It just
is.
it really says to me, it speaks of, you know, pure strength with the lion behind her. So that's what I love. That was the other one I picked.
Karen says the deck feels very cohesive and the images flow well together. Yes, they
Yeah.
do. And again, chat has been jumping. So I can't highlight everybody's, but please, I watch playback. Watching the chat. And man, okay, let's see. Anne says I can't handle people's faces being covered. Okay, that must have been a conversation. But Moira did point out lots of medieval churches have been lost to flames recently. Yep, that's true.
And
There was also another comment that I wanted to share from Rosanna. Rosanna says, I'm in IT, and this is going back a little bit to AI. She goes, AI is already being used. The scary thing is security and policy. So yes, so Rosanna has firsthand knowledge. But she says, what I like about this deck is that there are no clear faces. A couple are blurry or partial face. Only death and the skull is clear. Maybe because we will all die and be reborn. And there's actually a passage in the book by the writer, the person who wrote the foreword for them, and it says right here, and there is finally a secret to this deck, which I hope its authors won't mind my whispering. Its enigmatic figures, while gloriously expressive, have no faces. Hold that with you as you delve into its mysteries.
yes,
So that was very profound.
they have no faces. There's an absence of features. You know, you only see like a silhouette. Can I point out something? And it's about two cards of the major arcana. You know, traditionally, when in the Rider-Waite, and I want to talk about the lovers. To me, the lovers and the devil card, they're mirror cards one to the other. You know, they're different aspects. We see the same characters, a divinity aspect.
Plus the
It's
symmetry.
yes, it's
Symmetry.
like visually is very similar, and they're like opposite sides of the same concept. So in this deck, uh there is something similar to with the lovers and the devil card. If you see the characters, they're the same. You know, they're dressed in the same way, but they're different aspects. And what I like about the devil card is that they're not tethered to the podium of the devil like in the Rider-Waite. You know, they're holding hands. You know, they're together. They're united in trying to move forward from this toxic energy that's in front of them. And just like
It's
here
beautiful.
too, they're holding hands. But if you see this person here, it's the same clothing as this one, and so is this one. So they're actually the same people.
Well, there's another thing with those lover card. It looks like they're walking away from each other, and the devil card, like the lovers are walking towards each other. That aspect of it,
That's
yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
And the descriptions for each of the cards too is extremely poetic.
Heather,
Yes.
I'm gonna come right back because I can't hear Ramon or Bill for some reason.
Okay.
So let me exit and I'll come back.
Okay. Like Nancy says, I love the world card. She wanted to add that in there. Moira says, oddly, I don't see Narnia in that card. For me, I can kind of feel where Bill was coming from that, because for me, I remember as a child, for me at least, experiencing colors and things from the cartoons and the books and stuff. But you know, we all resonate differently on with color, with art. You know, that's what makes art so incredible, is that, and why there's so many decks out there, is that we all resonate and vibrate on a different frequency. And it's just beautiful that art is the universal language. So
Well, it was Narnia in the sense of that lion.
It's the lion. It
yeah,
is the lion.
The lion. But I wanted to say something about the faithlessness of the cards. Is that in a sense that it's not it doesn't, you know, it's like Rider Waite, it's clearly Caucasians that are depicted, but in this with the of it could be anyone, and because it's not any particular color of human being, it is just a human being, and that's what is remarkable about the deck of cards. At least that's the first thing that popped out to me.
All righty, thank you, Bill.
I mean, yeah, it's a different historical context, you know. Is that when the Rider-Waite was created, there was a different view of the world and what beauty and people should look like. You know, now that's changed a lot and you know, we see it in modern decks. You know, they're much more inclusive, or you know, they try to, like in this case, not feature anything that's distinguishable in terms of like race or gender.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alrighty, I think I'm caught up. So moving on to the minors, wands. And we are at 8:58. Is everybody still good with time?
I'm cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
For a little while longer, yeah.
Okay. So we'll see how far we get through. Amanda, what you got for wands? Anything that you like the best, or you want me to skip to somebody else?
Skip somebody else, sweetheart. I didn't pull any wands out, actually.
Okay. So who has some wands they would like to share? Bill? Bill's like, me. There you go, Bill. What's your wands?
I actually have the 2 and the 3. These ones have just kind of, to me, I think of like parallel realities. Different. Both of these cards actually, to me, have almost the same meaning when I look at their images. And though this is like double vision, it's like you're looking between 2 different choices.
Bill, we can't hear you, hon. It sounds like you're underwater. Can you get a little closer to your mic?
Oh, okay. Is it now or what?
Yeah, I can hear you better now.
Okay, so
going in and out from underwater. Thank you.
Like in the 2 of Wands, there is like double vision, and then in the 3 of Wands, there is a portal to another world that opens up, and so you are you're looking into your life, and you're either choosing to live your same life, or you can jump into this other realm. But in the 2 of Wands, to me, it seems as though they are these different realms are sort of superimposed upon one another. But then I was also looking at the 10 of Wands, and at first I really it didn't seem like anything. But then I was like, thought of like this book series called The City of Ember, and where this guy is wandering around the backside of Ember, where it's all dark in the garbage dump. And so he's around he's just gathered up a bunch of stuff from the garbage dump to go bring into his life and incorporate into his life. And then he's just walking by, and everything just is discarded from his life, or her, you know. That's what I kind of saw there, but that may not be what somebody wants to hear or look. Those little small things, they just look like discarded things. And
the Two of Wands is one of my favorites too, Bill. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
And Maruda says the same thing. It's gorgeous painting. I think Nancy fell in love with that too when I showed it to her.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I kind of see like Star Wars, Dune,
Really? Yeah, Dune.
Ember, and Narnia, all of those in this thing. With the other thing with Narnia, there's like the Prince, I think it's Prince Caspian is the one where he's down in the underground city. So there's these underground city kind of a things. And so whereas Jeff sees apocalyptic things, I see these other stories, sort of different worlds.
Yeah.
Different worlds. And so like here I see Obi-Wan Kenobi. I see Obi-Wan Kenobi wandering around on Tatooine while he's waiting for Luke Skywalker to grow up.
Yeah. Very cool. I love how we all see things differently. That's amazing. Jeff, what you got? Anything out of the wands?
Yeah, I really like the Ace of Wands. The embellishment of color to represent a veil of what you don't know exists behind the possibilities. It's a really beautiful card, and it's almost got this bounty or bouquet feel to it that really exemplifies what can what can be very promising is oftentimes brought about by the dark work we do have to do to get there. Now, you look at this and maybe on first glance, you're thinking to yourself, like, why, Jeff? There's just a stick and, berries or whatever. But if you actually really look at the card and you actually look at it, it does look like a bouquet. And then off in the distance, to me, these look like this looks like a castle, although you might not see it. It's right here, but it's embedded within clouds. So there's always that possibility, you can become somebody's, and live in a castle and, move on from that. And I really like the idea too of this sort of marshmallowy, cotton candy-ish idea, because that coalesces, the idea that even in darkness, there can be sweetness and there can be these polar opposites. So that's the one I really like a lot.
All righty. Thank you. Let me get back down to here. Let's do this. And whoops, there we go. Ramon, what you got from the wands? Anything?
Yes. So I like the interpretation of all the images in the wands, but I like more than anything the core cards. So if we take a look at the Rider-Waite, it draws a lot from the Rider-Waite. So on the Rider-Waite, we have the Page of Wands, we have
colors too in
here
that too.
the Knight of Wands, and we have here in the background what seems to be like dunes. Some people interpret that as pyramids, but here they depicted them as pyramids.
Pyramids. I love
But the colors are the same. They stay faithful to the. If you notice that,
they do. And
Yeah.
not only that, but also some elements. And I'm going to point out the Queen of Wands here, the Rider-Waite. We had the depiction of, the sunflower. Yeah, the sunflower, which was a touch made by Pamela Coleman Smith. And we had the cat, which was an actual cat. This is Snuffles. Snuffles was the cat. Snuffles was the cat of Edith Craig, who was a friend of Pamela Coleman Smith. And Snuffles is here as well.
Yeah, I love that.
Look at it right there.
Ramon beat me to it.
And we see the sunflower as well. So it kept the spirit of the Queen of Wands from the Rider-Waite. The only difference is she's not sitting here. She is standing. She's standing her ground. So it looks much more powerful. On the King of Wands, they also added the lizard, right? It's not a generic lizard. It's a salamander. It's a salamander.
But no pyramid. That's what kind of threw me off.
Well, it's not on the original Rider-Waite
but the
either.
other ones had a pyramid. Heather was getting a little OCD, I think, maybe.
Yeah, it's from the court cards in the wands. the king doesn't have any images of pyramids or dunes, maybe,
No.
but they kept that element here. And as we know, the salamander is it's been a symbol of the element of fire since the Middle Ages. And I like that they kept it here, just like in the Rider-Waite. You see it right there.
Love for
So the
snuff.
court cards are my favorite. You know,
Alrighty.
and just the colors, they had the element of like dryness and heat, and
And they're
you
like
know, so
Bedouins in the
Desert.
desert.
so
Yeah.
so you feel like the temperature of the environment through the images. They did a great job with that.
Eat for wands. Yeah.
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 So for me, Ramon took mine, but I'm still going to share it. My favorite is the Queen of Wands, and there's my
Oh, I
little
love that
Mozzie
card
down
too.
there.
Snuffles, yeah.
And I think that's all. And I also love, Bill got the Two of Wands. Jeff pointed out the Ace of Wands. For me, again, it all has to do with the colors and similarities. How I started painting when I was in college, and as my art progressed over the years. So, for me, those were the ones that jumped out. So I really don't have a lot of more input for that particular. And I have been going ahead and starring a few comments. Karen said, the yellow on the Three of Wands draws me into what the person is looking into, like a window out into the world and beyond. So, yes. And Moira also has a suggestion for maybe the next show that we do. Maybe you need one person who doesn't have or like the deck, just to shake things up a bit. Maybe.
Well, let's find
Long
someone who
live
doesn't.
Snuffles.
Do you like this deck? Do you hate this deck? Do you hate
Long live Snuffles.
Yes, long live Snuffles.
Long live
AI and
Snuffles.
beyond.
Snuffles?
And Rochelle, thank you so much, dear, for coming in and hanging out with us. It was such a pleasure to meet
Thank you, Rachel, for
and
stopping
looking
by.
forward to seeing you again. Maruta, I love that ace. And Maruta also said, oh yeah, the other thing that gives me pause is the elongation of the torsos. Some of them look quite alien. Well, who's to say? Well, the alien or the ET species, however you'd like to refer to them, they are a part of mythologies of who we are as a human race as well. So there is somewhat inclusion of that aspect of spirituality and the cosmos and our creation. So, but it's very interesting. I like that you brought that up. And I think I got caught up with as much as I can. Karen says, yes, it still points out how Wands energy can persevere, thrive, and build in harsh, hot, and dry environments. Exact. Karen, you need this deck too.
Yeah, you gotta get it, Karen.
And Green Adventuring joined us, Tarot. So she's here, or he. Welcome. All righty. So they're talking about Beetlejuice in the comments. So that was what that was all about. So moving on, minor, we are going to cups. So I am going to put, Amanda, do you have any cups?
Yeah, I pulled out a cup.
I pulled out a cup. What you got, girl?
Pulled out a cup.
I pulled out a cup. Red solo cup. No, just kidding. I love solo cups. You can, never mind. College days, college memories.
I love the Ten of Cups, but I love the Ten of Cups in every deck. But the Ten of Cups here, I can appreciate more of the beauty because it's about happiness and like all your wishes and dreams coming true in the Ten of Cups. And this is just kind of like even what I feel just like about this whole deck as an entirety, just put in perspective, like everything I could have asked for in a deck for what I was looking for I think is in this deck. But I just think this Ten of Cups is beautiful in itself.
Yeah,
and
it is.
I think, this would be like, like how Bill said about, these images being small, like this would be one you would want to, like put on your wall. This would be like one of those pictures I would want to hang in a wall in my house because I just think it's that beautiful. So that's my cups.
Alrighty, thank you. And Bill, what's your favorite cups? Any?
Well,
Ooh,
Hold on 1 second. Can you go to another person?
sure.
Done yet. Well, okay, just hold on, Mom.
I went with the Ace of Cups, and there's a reason why. Because in the regular Rider-Waite, there's this rendition of it being water, but yet the boundless bounty of the sky and the angel feathers and the luck and the things that can come from almost wisdom and purity, all those things are really uplifting to me, no pun intended, right now. I mean, especially like the clouds, and it's as if the cup is floating and flowing above the clouds too. So there's this sort of sense that I don't want to get really God woo woo whatever, but there's, instead of it being wrought with emotion, it's almost wrought with hope.
That's beautiful.
And that's a really beautiful thing to have in this. It's not probably artistically the best thing in it, but it gives a certain buoyancy. You know, clouds have buoyancy, and they say water has buoyancy, but it has buoyancy for not being water, you know. And it's like the whole world is seeing this sort of purity. That's why I like it.
And you know, too, if you think about it, when we're able to learn how to do it properly, we can float on water when we're taught how to swim. Except for Ramón, he doesn't swim. But
I
when
don't
we
swim.
get on the
I'm not
surface, we
interested.
hold our breath.
I'm scared of swimming.
And we learn that buoyancy, we learn to float like we're on air. So I think that's another beautiful analogy. So that was nice, Jeff. Thank you. What you got, Bill?
Well, I was thinking of the Four of Cups in this. In the guy in the tree house, and it's really difficult to tell if he's coming or going. You can't really tell from it if he's going into the image, going into the settlement in the background, or if he's coming out forward. So there's no, the directionality is the directionality is not present. Am I got an echo there?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. And then there's that tree house up there, and so it's dark in the foreground and light in the background. So I guess it would just depend on. I mean, it would be hard to knowing exactly how to read this. I mean, is it like if your card before here is one direction, and then because it looks like it could be either way. But then again, if you look at it really close, it looks like there's the guy is actually.
The dimensionality of it can change, and it's going to change based on what first grabs you. And that's what I think. You know, again, you make a valid point, Bill. The card before, the card after might take you down a different direction, but that would happen anyway. So, I mean, that's one of the things about this deck that gives it more measure, you know.
And when I saw that first, I was thinking of those crystal bowls that you play for frequency and for healing. So when I first saw those, Bill, I was thinking crystal bowls too. So,
but it doesn't have this cup that's luring somebody away.
Exactly.
Way the other one, the regular Rider-Waite does.
Yeah.
So that is something. So then that's a card that you don't agree with in the deck, that doesn't resonate with you. So Moira, we have one card possibly that. Am I right to assume that one you're not quite convinced, or
I'm not sold on that one either.
Sold on that one?
He's not. Yeah.
I don't want to speak for Bill, so I didn't mean to do that, Bill. But would that be?
The person who made the comment about to have someone who didn't quite like the deck, I might actually be in that category. But it would be, but it's more or less because of the stickiness of the cards, and then also the how thick the cards are and how hard it is to shuffle.
Yeah, they can be difficult. Yeah.
And so, but as far as like, but then it's that and then it's, but I think that I just need to sit with it a whole lot longer.
Mm-hmm. Well,
You know,
we got
that's
another. Yeah, we can do
yeah.
a part 2, Bill. Yeah, most definitely. So
Yeah,
it gives us
'cause-
each all the time to work with the cards more, connect with them.
Yeah, because I've only had the deck a week, so.
Okay.
Yeah, a part 2 now. Like it's like my dog is saying it's time for dinner. I don't really want to leave early, but
well, Bill, if you got to go, dude, it's okay.
Well,
You can always too, if you want to go back in the comments after
I think
the
I could just
show.
find another
Share your.
half hour.
I'm sorry. What was that, hon?
I said I can be hanging out for another half hour.
Half hour. Okay, so I'll skip
Yeah.
me then for the rest of the night, and we'll just go ahead to Ramón and what Ramón has to share, and I'll just keep an eye on chat for the rest of the night.
All right. So, Ace of Cups. There's a lot of very interesting things with the cups. I want to start with, the Suit of Cups. I want to start with the Ace of Cups because on the regular Rider-Waite, we see like this dove coming down towards the cup, and we see it as divine blessings, etc. But here, this is the card that I don't know. I have mixed feelings about it because I feel it's very powerful, but if I feel like it's what happens after this cup, I feel it's like the dove like went straight into the cup, like crashed in the cup. Yeah, and you see like that aggression. I don't know. It feels like
Oh my
feathers
God! No, I
here.
cannot see that, Ramón.
No. But it's you can or you can't.
I can't unsee
I
that
can
now.
see it.
Oh. Yeah, that's how I feel. Like this, like it crashed into the cup, but it's all
Like it's drunk.
right.
You're too much drinking. There you go.
But then it's like the water, it transforms into wine, which is a symbol of blood as well. So
yeah, you shouldn't be drinking so much.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
Ramón, you brought that up, dude.
yeah.
Love you.
So yeah, that's how I feel. But
analogy.
yeah, but I like it.
I do too.
I like. There's certain. I don't know. It's very powerful, and we know that cups represents emotions. Bill was talking about the Four of Cups, and I didn't realize that till now. In the traditional Rider-Waite, we see this hand holding a cup, and here we don't know if this is before or after this because we assume that it's the universe giving you a cup. But what if it's taking away a cup?
Okay.
And it's in this guy. A lot of people interpret it as bored or unmotivated. There's no emotion there. We don't know if he's accepting the cup, rejecting it, his reaction to it. But now we don't know, thinking about it, if the hand is actually taking away the cup. So here we just see the four cups lined up. So there is sort of like a connection in terms of chronology between one and the other. One thing that I found interesting was that in the Rider-Waite, especially with the core cards, there's a lot of watery element with the cups, right? I don't have it here on hand right now, but we see the Page of Cups, and on the background we see the waves up and down. We see the King of Cups, and there's water on the background, and same with the other ones, right? But here it's focused solely on the cups. There's no like reading of water, right? So we have here the Page of Cups. We have the Knight of Cups. We see no water.
That was one of my
Literally,
favorite cups. Is the Knight.
yeah,
It's beautiful.
just cups. The Queen of Cups.
I see a bird.
Yeah.
Yes, and yes, there.
That's
and-
a very good card.
I was actually going to point that out too. There's still that theme of the bird.
Shellfish
We see it
stew.
here. This feels like a.
Mhm.
What was
Yeah.
that, Jeff?
Shellfish stew.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think Ramon eats shellfish.
Or an aquarium.
Oh, you do.
Or
Yeah.
a tub. Whatever
I
you're
love that you
seeing.
pulled up the Knight of Cups, Ramon. I love the Knight of Cups. It's so beautiful.
Well, then there's the Queen of Cups with that Starbucks smoothie in her hand.
Queen of Cups with the Starbucks. In the
Yeah,
deck.
what that looks like. It looks like a smoothie that she's holding on to, a smoothie or some berry drink or something like that.
That's
Love
cool.
that.
Oh, I see
That's
what you're
true,
talking
too.
about, Bill.
We were just talking about that card's dimensionality, which is what I said
Yeah.
in the beginning. There's so much good in this that it's just like, to me, that's good. Yeah. That's good art.
Yeah.
Ramon, did you get a chance to share all your cards, hon?
Yes,
That you wanted
I'm
from
done.
the 10. Okay.
I'm done.
Okay. And just for me again, Ramon shared that beautiful Knight of Cups. I just absolutely love all the cups. They almost look like candles also in a way. And I just wanted to throw out and show really quick the Three of Cups, another beautiful piece of artwork from the deck that stands out to me.
Yeah, that's the other one I like.
So, alrighty, moving on. Let's see, we got the swords. And Amanda, do you have any swords, or you want me to go to Bill?
No, I pulled out a sword. Because I pulled out the Six of Swords, and this is the image. And when we talk about the Six of Swords, it's about someone like moving away, moving forward, leaving their baggage behind or their past. And I just like the imagery of, like there's like more like waves like pushing the boat more forward, but then there's like this danger element to me up here with the swords hanging over, and just kind of like it makes me feel like moving even out of danger, if that makes any sense.
Mm-hmm.
So compared to this from the regular Rider-Waite, I guess this is more just, I understand the imagery of it, but it's just, I guess there's that dullness to it to where I just feel I can read this one better. I like the image of the water encased in the background with the boat being pushed forward, moving away, like just out of danger is what I feel from this card. So that's the one I picked.
All righty. And hello, Peace Mama has joined us. It says here, we lost Ramon. Is there a creature above the Six of Swords? I can't remember.
I don't remember.
I don't see a creature.
Okay, Moira was asking if there was a creature above the Six of Swords.
Maybe.
And Tom is here. Let me.
I mean, I guess you could see a gargoyle, maybe like right here. Is this what you're talking about more? Right here?
Yeah, there's that there.
Okay, I didn't.
I could kind of see that. Yeah.
I didn't see it until you pointed it out.
Yeah, I didn't
I see
either.
a boat in that whole image. I see a boat.
Yeah.
The way that you do in the regular Rider-Waite, but it's abstract. If you hold up the card, this is why I love the deck. You hold up the card, and then there's obviously the boat here, but it looks to me as like if you go straight out, there's another boat beyond it, and it's like it's the water. It could be the white behind the swords, You know,
Mhm.
so in other words, you think you're going in for, you know, calmer waters, but the progress is always still going on with that sort of repetition of progress is shown by that. That's a good card. I like that card.
Yeah, I do too.
All righty.
I see what you're talking about, Jeff. I didn't even see that till now.
Yeah, like that's
All righty. So, Bill, what you got?
Well, I still don't see that boat he's talking about. But this one, this suit really was the one that this is a suit that really reminded me of the Ember series, or even like Narnia itself. And you have this of the underground city, like with this one, you're the Four of Swords, and there's the church. But then you're outside of the church, but you're also in this cave, and this cave-like thing, and so that's kind of like you're in an underground realm, and that's kind of how I just felt about that card. But then you look at it, you're in the church is in the church, and you are in this other world.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what I get from it. But then there's also the similarity between the ace of swords and the three of swords. That seems like it's the same type of a image in there. It's kind of very similar. But when I was looking at the swords, that's where I really felt like this was like the top, where they were really it looked a lot like the Toth deck, especially this card.
That's perfect. Tom's here now, so he knows the
Which
top deck.
this one, the Seven of Swords and the Seven of Swords in Toth is pretty much the same, almost the same image.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Bill, every single time I look at you, I'm reminded of spam. You're making me hungry.
Are you?
I guess I could just take off and show my
I'm teasing you, hon.
Yeah. Bill, were you done sharing your cards?
Am I done sharing the card?
Yeah,
I'm done with
swords.
The swords, yeah.
Okay.
So
Jeff, what you got?
So the Five of Swords, everybody, I know he's all in green, but this idea of this terrorist with it's like got elevator buttons on it, and with that whole height thing that we were talking about earlier, this imposing sort of figure. I do get like the thing I hear is freedom fighter, but I also hear because of that. But I also see that there's this sort of fighting for an ideal that might not be popular, and that idea can shape others' perceptions of you because they go by what you do or exemplify. And I do think that in that regard, it stays true to the Five of Swords, because even though he's holding his swords and he doesn't care that he's alienated a whole bunch of people, we're supposed to think of it in the regular Rider-Waite as bad, but here there's that sort of vague vibe to it that you don't necessarily have to think that. It could be a terrorist, it could be an agent of the apocalypse, it could be someone who's going to drop a bomb somewhere and they're going to drop it on the 50th floor. So, and then they're faceless again, and we don't know the race, although some might speculate one type of race. An alien race or a hybrid race, who knows? But and a mix of a race here and and some other future race. But I don't know. This card speaks to me because it keeps true to the regular one, but it also speaks to me because it does have this sort of contradictory, almost paradoxical element that makes you not think of the Five of Swords in the same way as you might in the Rider-Waite, that the person is just an unmitigated a-hole. I don't, with all that imagery and all that I get from it, I don't feel as negatively as I do about the Five of Swords I mean, I don't hate the Five of Swords, but what I'm saying is you have this perception of the Five of Swords as someone who's ruthless, and they don't, I don't get that with him, even though he could be. So,
And I like what Karen said, green with envy, Jeff.
Green with envy. Yeah. There you go. I mean, and that's one perception of him that you might not get from the original. And that's a very interesting take on it. So, again, dimensionality.
Jeff, your take on it was almost like what's in the Marseille tarot. It's
really okay.
Yeah. Just kind of what you said. It was more like that. So that's where we say, where they're not reimagining the Rider-Waite. They are combining, because that's what I was originally thinking, that it was like they were trying too hard to reimagine the Rider-Waite, but maybe that's not the way to look at it. Is that they are, that was my initial thought, but then you see the elements of these other earlier tarots in it as well.
Yeah, and that's why I think too you see a lot of different styles of art. I see surrealism, I see pointillism, I see impressionism, I see, you know what I mean? So I don't know if Heather could speak to that a little bit, but I see those different styles sometimes coming through too.
I do. And I know that Ramón does. And Ramón, I'm going to give that over to you because I know that you are very familiar with the different art genres. And
yeah, I agree. I think is the way you pointed out, Jeff, is you're on point with it. There's a combination, very interesting combination of different art styles, but also theme, in the sense of surrealism. That it's present right there. Going into the swords, one of the cards that I like a lot, and I'm contrasting it with the Rider-Waite, is the Six of Swords also, because here we see these three figures, and they're going smoothly over water into that transition. Right here is much more aggressive. You see like the waves crashing against the what seems to be rocks, right? And I love this detail of the swords being up and down, because I feel that it like symbolizes that mental process that you go through when you're transitioning from one place to the other. You have, that sense of security, but insecurity at the same time. You feel brave about it, but then fearful at the same time. So there's that contrast of emotions, of that mental process, and I feel that it's depicted symbolically here. So
Ramón,
I love
really quickly, just so that you know, we can hear you, but your sound has changed since you've come back, and it's a little metallic, and it sounds like a little bit like you're in an empty room a little. Just so that you know, in case you watch this back and you're like, oh, my sound was off and I didn't know. I just wanted to let you know we can hear you, but it's not the same as before. Just wanted to let you know.
Maybe the internet field altogether, since we had that internet terror attack last week, that has something to do with it.
You hear me?
Yes, now you sound like your typical self.
Yes, I'm sorry.
There you go.
I think it's when I came out, the settings of the microphone changed. Let me repeat what I said. So
Sure.
I like contrasting it with the Rider-Waite. Here we see these figures going through smooth water, right, into transition, and swords represent, the mental processes, logic, and anything on the abstract level. But I like the contrast here with of this image, the depiction of this image, because we see it's much more aggressive, right? We see the water like crashing against the rocks, and I like this detail here of the swords up and down, because to me it like symbolizes that mental process that we go through when we move from one point to the other. It's that sense of like security but fear at the same time, of fear, bravery, security, insecurity, that contrast of like mental processes that we go through, and I feel that it's depicted here, so I like that. It's with the core cards, I like that they stay true with the symbology of the birds. In the Rider Waite, all the core cards in the suit of airs, the suit of swords, has birds, and all of them, including the king, all four, and we can see that here in the core cards of this deck as well.
Oh wow, I didn't notice that. Thanks for pointing that out, Ramon. That's cool.
Yeah. Now
I love that
I want to
swords.
Yeah, I want to focus on this one because on the Rider Waite there is a single bird, but there is also an angel. But here they painted the bird white, so I feel like it merges both elements of the bird and the angel into this white bird here. It's the only bird from all four of these that is white, and also with the King of Swords. The King of Swords on the Rider Waite has these butterflies like right there visible, but they brought it to the forefront in a beautiful way in this interpretation.
Yeah. And swords is usually not my favorite suit, but there's some beautiful swords.
Yeah. So those are the
I'll go with court cards.
Well, that King of Swords has a big giant butterfly in the background too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yeah.
So,
well,
I mean, you see the butterfly in others. You see it also on the Knight of Swords right there.
Oh, I didn't know those were butterflies. Okay.
Yeah, those are butterflies right there.
All right. See the things you don't see that Ramon brings.
Yeah, well,
exactly.
Also on the Queen, we see right there on the
that.
bottom.
Oh yeah,
Heather.
That's a butterfly.
We've been schooled.
No, that's the good thing about these shows. It brings out a share of knowledge.
We learn from each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Ramon, were you done? Because I have
very
one
important.
swords. Oh, what was that, Bill? I'm sorry.
I said that having the discussion has been very illuminating, and being able to, because we all see different things, and whereas if you're just sitting home alone with your guidebook, you may not even get any of this stuff, or you might just get like stuck, like I did before coming on here, stuck on the fact that the cards stick together, and just those kind of details that you or if I didn't.
No, I was gonna say, I feel like as you use the cards, they'll become less sticky. It is thick. I think it's like 320 GSM, but I think as you use them, they'll become much more flexible and shuffle better.
Oh, okay.
They have this eggshell feeling to it.
Mine don't. Mine are a little sticky, but fanning powder, I've been told, it would be good. That's what Miss Tarot D said. And for swords, I have to share the one, and someone's joined me to share my own little snuffles. But he's like, my name is Mozzie. So, Mozzie.
You're a suit behind.
Yeah. So you're a little late, Cat. So I wanted to share the Eight of Swords, and this was one of the cards that I shared with Nancy, because I know the Eight of Swords is very dear to Nancy, and when I shared it to her, she loved it too. And for me, the Eight of Swords is about, for me, image wise, it almost kind of looks like there's a little bit of blood on her back, kind of like she's been stabbed in the back, or she's taken the risk to move through the swords, She's let herself out, and there's nothing holding her back anymore. For me, instead of being surrounded by them and being trapped, this is her actually leaving them. And sorry, my cat's pushing my hair on a second. Okay, yes, say hello to everybody. Get this over with. I'm handsome. Okay, goodbye. All right. So, but yes, for me, it feels like she's no longer um, surrounded by them, that she's now actually taken that step forward, wounds and all, to move through that those swords. And I really wanted to share that tonight. So thank you for letting me do that. And I'll get back on track here with and comments. Thank you everybody for everyone coming in and sharing their comments. Just really quick, Moira says, I would love to see Six of Cups. It's my ride or died. I actually have mine in numerical order. So really quick, Moira, your Six of Cups is this right here, and it actually does show a face on these ones. So for me, they almost feel kind of like mannequin. This is kind of like a creepy card a little bit because it's supposed to be nostalgia. You know, you typically see in a regular RWS children handing each other cups lovingly, whereas they're not even looking at each other. They're just kind of looking like mannequins from, you know, a department store that got shoved into a, you know, a storeroom. And there's some cups around. But so Moira, there is your Six of Cups, my dear. All righty.
It's like paper mache to me, or something Bill would paint.
Yeah. And Rosanna said earlier,
I like
the
it.
bottom of the Ten of Cups reminds her of a Van Gogh poppy fields. And Tom shared earlier, in the RWS, there is rougher waters in the foreground too. The idea is you're heading towards serene waters. And just to catch up a little bit behind, but Karen says, when it came to the Five of Swords, words and thoughts matter. They can tear us apart or bring us together. At what price are we willing to pay? What is it worth to whether you are walking away or pushing others away? So trying to do my best to keep up with sharing everybody's comments. And thank you for the discussions, everybody. For people who I can't share their comments, we really appreciate everybody. And I think this is on Hershey's wish list too. So yeah, you're going to be seeing this deck going around. And Karen said also,
the
go
Five
ahead,
of
Jeff, sorry.
Swords. The Five of Swords. I just wanted to say something that I noticed after. Well, I noticed it before, but Peace Mama said something that made me remember it. I can't remember. You don't know which side of it is his front and which is his back. It's like it could almost turn any which direction and it wouldn't matter, you know, because you don't know if even though his head looks like it's looking away from you because all you see is dark, you don't know that. So you get the sense that in the Five of Swords, you don't know what you're dealing with, even though flagrantly and blatantly in the writer way, you know that he's proud of what he's doing. You get that more eerie sort of feel that you don't necessarily know from what angle he's coming. And there's that sort of lack of angularity if you look at the card. Am I looking at his front or his back? Because maybe the buttons are his spine, the buttons that you could push, you know. I just wanted to say that. I'm done.
Well, it really looks like you're looking at him from the side, Jeff.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah. I see it. I see like and he's looking at the side, and he's looking towards that way. Way. Yeah, he is. So he's looking towards the right.
So is he watching his back?
So it looks like because I can see the outline of an ear. It's very small there, and then so he's on maybe he's on the side, or he's watching. Yeah, maybe he's watching his back. He's got his sword on the side. That's kind of what it looks like.
Okay.
But then I could be completely wrong there, but
to me, it seems like it's open-ended a little bit.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't. Yeah.
And hello, Jeffrey Thompson. Thank you for joining us. So we are moving on to our last suit, Minor Arcana, for it's the Pentacles. And I am going to go ahead and put Miss Amanda. You got any? Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, you do. Share your lovely pentacles that you want to share, my dear.
Yes, I love the Three of Pentacles. I just here so y'all can see it. I love the artistic view of it, you know, because when you think of the Three of Pentacles, the Three of Pentacles represents like collaboration, like us doing the show tonight, partnerships. And, you know, when you think of that, you can always think of it like being like a work partnership, you know, or maybe even like at home working on a project. There's like all these different angles of it gives you partnerships, because when I look at the Rider-Waite, this one, this Three of Pentacles gives me the creeps. Honestly, it makes me think of
Really?
three people like in a dungeon or like planning a funeral. That's
Yeah.
what I get
It
from
can be. It can be
the Rider-Waite.
dark money or cabal. It could be a bunch of people in that. Like it could be a cabal. You know what I mean? Like people.
Mhm.
There comes the cabal.
You know what I mean? It can, no, but it could be. It could be. It's supposed to
Yeah.
be teamwork, but I don't know if I see it that way all the time.
There
What
it
else you
is.
got, Amanda?
I'm sorry.
What else you got, sweetheart?
Oh, that was all beautiful. It was just the Three
Oh.
of Pentacles I pulled. I mean, that was just my favorite one, just because of the different settings and, you know, what it
Okay.
represents.
I
And
just
I
want to
thought
make
it
sure
just
you
was a
got
good
everything.
representation of us doing this show tonight.
Oh, wow. Yes. Thank
Mhm.
you. Okay,
You're
so
welcome.
Bill, any pentacles you got? Yep, that was one of the ones I had picked. Yep.
The ace, but but in a sense that star in the background, it reminds me of a Dyson spear. And the Dyson spear, and so you have a world inside and a world outside, and that Dyson spear is capturing the light from a star, and then because if you know what a Dyson spear is a theoretical construct of where a civilization like a type 2 or type 3 civilization would utilize the entire energy of their star system and would build a sphere around their sun in order to harvest the energy of the sun, the entire sun. And that
Interesting.
and that image reminds me of that. And so you're harvesting all that energy of this pentacle or this earth energy, this material energy, and it's kind of it's like a seed that you're going to be using later. And then you have around that part there are flowers and other things, and so there are things that are on the outside of the spear that need light to survive.
Okay. Was there any other cards, or you want me to give it over
Well,
to Jeff? Oh.
the same one that Amanda talked about, the three as well. And of course with that one I was like thinking of in terms of anyway, that's it all. Hold on, Mom.
Okay, so really quick, Karen shared that the RWS 3 of Pence makes me think they are scrutinizing the sculptor's plans. Yep. And she also loves the watercolor palettes on the 3 of Pence. I do too. Thank you for sharing, Bill. I don't know what Dyson Sphere was, but now we know. So let me give over to Jeff. What you got from the Pentacles?
So what I really like about the Two
Pentakees.
of Pentacles card in this deck is that there are a couple things going on here. Well, there are more than a couple. It looks as if it's a a human with a dog's face, almost something primal. But it's supposed to be about Earth and the earthly resources that we have. But it's also got antlers to me that are connected to the clouds, that are wired to the clouds. If you look at the way the coloring is, it looks like the colors are leading you toward the clouds in the background. And he's riding a float, almost like a Macy's Day Parade on display. I think it's the high wire act that we do every day, you could say, to make money. Mm-hmm. And instead of from the surreal end, you could say that, or you could say something like that duality of good and bad in a two-party system in politics or whatever. These are things that have been thrust upon us, and we have to transcend them. We're going to carry them. We're going to have to live with them, but we can move past them, even if we have to hold them in existence. So to me, like, this card means a lot. And again, this idea of floating comes into these cards. You would think this should be about grounding, but it's not. As above, so below, which you wouldn't expect with this card. But I mean, Hershey and Thomas have talked about this, about how even like this deck is, or the card, or the Pentacles, I don't know if it's like considered the lowest tier deck in the Rider-Waite as far as measure is concerned, even though it has so much influence on getting stuff, accomplished. But there's this sort of ecstasy feeling in everyday encumbrance to things, so I really like this representation of it, as opposed to just simply sitting there and juggling it as if it's just some sort of magic act, almost like the way it looks in the Rider-Waite. So that's why I chose that one.
All righty. Thank you. And Moira says, I thought a Dyson sphere was a vacuum cleaner.
I did too.
Yeah, I did too. I was like,
sorry.
wait a minute. No.
Sounds like that.
Had a little humor in there. Thanks, Moira. So, Ramon, what you got in the Pentacles? Queens, as Rain likes to say.
A couple of things I found interesting and that I like. I like the Ace of Pentacles. I think that Pentacle is so impactful. It looks like the sun. It looks like brightness. I love the contrast of the image right there. I think it's really powerful. I found interesting that on the regular Rider-Waite, we see these two figures on the Five of Pentacles. We don't know if they're moving away from this place that we say is a church. It can be some type of institution. We just see a wall with snow and a stained glass window with 5 pentacles. But here on this interpretation, they're going towards this place, which seems to be a church or a school, even.
Yeah.
So here's there's a sense of direction here. There's more clarity of direction, whereas here they're passing by. We don't know if they're coming or going. I like the 9 of Pentacles as well. On the Rider-Waite, we had this lady here with a falcon.
Took mine.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
And I love that here you see the bird flying. Right? We don't know if it's coming towards her. It's just going away, but I love, like the sequence between one or the other. Now I have to point out there's no snail here, or at least I don't see it. In the Rider-Waite, we see the snail down here.
Yeah, Jonathan Daly would not be happy.
I know. I thought of him. So there's no snail visible here.
Unless it's at the bottom corner, though, Ramon.
Yes, we're gonna have
smudge.
To
we can tell him that's the snail.
Let's see. Do you see any?
I don't know. Maybe that little smudge was supposed to be the snail. I don't know.
Yeah. Now, the snail is cute. Now, I want to point out that this lady reminds me of there's a motif that Salvador Dali used a lot, and it was like women with flower head. And I actually found a photo of this is a motif that Salvador Dali used a lot, so it kind of like reminds me of it,
Oh, okay.
right?
I've never seen that by Dolly. That's interesting.
Oh yeah, he used it in a lot of his paintings. This motif of ladies, of women with flower heads. So it reminded me of that. I found interesting that in the core cards, well, specifically on the Ace of Pentacles, they use green for this image, and it's associated with Earth. Another thing is, if you look through all the cards of the pentacles, the pentacles are used in different ways, like different colors. You see them yellow. You see there's one of them, the Six of Pentacles, they're blue. Here is it's a detail on this person's jacket. Here looks pink. So they depicted not only with golden golden color, but and here's purple.
Yes, probably why I like that one so much.
Yeah,
Me too.
So they artistically they use the pentacles in different ways, but it's actually one of my favorite suits from the deck.
Me too.
The pentacles. That's what I got.
And just really quick, my pentacle was the the Nine of Pentacles, and when I first saw this card, I thought of Miss Tarot D.
Exactly.
Ah,
I did too.
Miss Tarot D purple.
This is Miss Tarot D card. So whenever I see this, it's the queen herself, looking a little. So little shout out to Miss Tarot D. She gets to watch this back. So I had to add that in there. So we've gotten through all of them. We're at almost 10 o'clock. Before we go, did anybody want to talk about the book, cardstock? Bill, I know you're short on time. Was there anything you want to share about cardstock or book, or maybe we wait till another part 2 of this? What you guys want to do?
Probably a part 2. But I wanted to add that I looked at the Nine of Pentacles with a magnifying glass, and there is a snail in it.
I want to see it.
Where?
It's down in the lower right-hand corner.
That's what I thought.
It's in the dark. There's a snail in there, and the bird is coming towards you. Because when you look at the magnifying glass, you can see the bird is coming out of the sky towards you.
Oh yeah. You got to kind of stick the card right up into your face.
Yes, you're right. The snail is purple.
Oh my God!
You
see it,
you're right.
Right here on the top bottom corner.
If you put me on the screen, I'll show you.
On the big screen, because it's that little tiny dot right there.
Yeah.
There's the snail. I thought the big thing was the snail, but it's on top of it. I was close.
There it is. I love it. I love this card more.
Yay!
It is there.
There.
The deck is complete.
Yes. It took a magnifying glass to see it, but
thanks, Bill.
But I like the element of mystery right there, that it's not obvious.
This is just one of those ASMR tools, I have. I did concentrating on the art for so long, but anyways, I want to just thank you so much for this discussion.
Actually, I was kind of thinking the same thing. It was surprisingly illuminating, and it was a lot of fun. We should do it again.
That my mother's little
keeping an eye on chat and making sure everybody got their say. So again, I apologize to chat. One person running a chat that's going a mile a minute. Again, sorry if I missed anybody's comments. I think I did pretty good. This was the first time I've ever had a panel this large on my channel. So you guys were all my guinea pigs. So, Tarot Detective Bill. Yes, Maruta. So any last final words about the deck that you want to share before we head out and end our live, that you want to share right now? Right now. And you can't wait till
Um,
part 2.
Don't dismiss AI decks. Don't summarily dismiss them if they're mass market. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a lot on Etsy that are very expensive.
Yes.
It's a little crazy, some of them, but a lot of them too. There's still some that are coming out that are on Etsy that are incredible. And you just got to feel spiritually for yourself when you look at the deck, at the artwork. Take out of your mind that it's AI. Does it resonate with you on a spiritual level? Does it get you like, I connect with this? Do a flip through. A lot of places you can find flip throughs, not so much on Etsy, but there are some people who buy the deck that also do some flip throughs and show. If something resonates with you, don't hold yourself back and not get that because someone says, "Oh, it's bad because it's AI."
Mhm.
It's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that I am against, of course, as we touched in the beginning, is bootleg decks. Counterfeit decks. That's where I draw the line when it comes to decks. So if something resonates with you and you're spiritually drawn to it, don't let that type of argument, detract you from connecting with something that could be a very profound and spiritual tool for yourself and for others.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Mm-hmm. No, it's you said it right. It's what resonates with you, because there's a lot of decks out there that are hand drawn, and I appreciate the artistry of it, but I don't connect with them in a spiritual level. With a lot of AI decks, not that all of them, but they have that advantage that it allows you. There's a level of fantasy, that that evokes spirituality. I don't know. It takes me to a different place, like the depth of the images, and again, as long as it's ethically sourced and it's an original one, it's just go for it. Each deck doesn't matter where it comes from. It's a personal experience. It's a personal connection. We all connect with it in a different way.
Yeah.
And
Amanda?
again,
I'm sorry.
no.
Okay.
I was gonna add too. At counterfeit decks. That's a no.
And Moira asked if we could do a panel about bootleg decks. It's been done, I think, a couple times, but I think maybe we can get a group of us together to do an official on my channel. That would be fine. Amanda, any last thoughts or insights into the deck?
Just that I think it's a beautiful deck that I think everyone, who's the tarot reader, whether they read for themselves or for others, I think you should get it. I think you should, go out there if you can afford it.
Afford it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Keyword afford.
Yes.
Yeah.
Buy the deck. It's a beautiful deck because I'm in love with the deck. And I've only had it a week, but I just think it's a beautiful deck. Well made, put together. So
All right. Well, thank you. Bill, any final thoughts?
No, but I gotta go. So
Okay. Bye, Bill. Thank you again
Bye,
for
Bill.
joining
Thank
us.
Bye.
go off, but
Okay. Jeff,
yeah.
any last thoughts before we end?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All righty. So, on that note, everybody, again, thank you for joining me on my channel. I appreciate every single one of you, my fellow readers, everybody in chat. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. Be sure to check out my guests, subscribe, do all that YouTube stuff for them. And we will see everybody on one of our next shows or dropping by another live and saying hi to chat to everybody. So, everyone, have a great night and thank you again.
bye.
Bye.
Bye.